Hello and welcome to day number 11 of the Ginvent Chronicles. Today we have this bottle of Cambridge dry gin, the limited edition for the Craft Gin Club, the Rosemary and Verbena edition. Now, thank you very much to the Craft Gin Club for sending us this bottle. Very excited to give this a try. Now, you might be wondering why I'm stood here dressed like this. Cambridge Distillery, it looks more like a science laboratory than a traditional distillery. They actually distill each of their botanicals individually to get the perfect flavour before mixing them all up. So because of the scientific nature of the Cambridge Distillery, I thought we would do tonight's episode with a little sciencey twist. I'd like to go through and show you how to make the perfect gin and tonic based on a little bit of science and a lot of practice. Step number 1, getting the right glass. Now, you always want to try and use a big balloon glass like this. Why? Well, first of all, it allows you to have lots and lots of real nice ice. We'll find out why that's important in step number 2. Second of all, it also helps to capture all the aromas within the glass. So when you're drinking your gin and tonic, you get all of those aromas which help improve the overall taste. Step number 2, lots and lots of real nice ice. Now, a little bit of science for you. Ice is actually made from water. Now, the reason we have lots of ice, the more ice you can put in, the colder it will keep your glass and the drink. And the colder it is, the less that ice will melt, and therefore the less it will dilute your gin. Remember, lots and lots of ice. Managed to drop an ice cube every time, I think, so far. Step number 3 in making the perfect gin and tonic is actually to chill your glass. Now, to do that, you can grab a spoon or one of these swirly long spoon things, which I can't remember the proper name of. What's the name? Pop it in the glass, give it a little swirl. The point of this is to cool your glass down, so as soon as you pour your gin in, it's instantly chilled, helping to retain that flavour and avoid any further dilution. Ooh, very scientific. As we've just learned, because ice is made of water, any water that is now in the glass we want to tip out because we don't want any extra water mixing with our gin. I'm going to try using my hand. See all that water? So now we have a super chilled glass full of just ice. Step number 4 is the gin. Step number 4 is the garnish. Now, some people like to put their garnish in at the end of the drink. I like to, if I'm using a fruit, to put the garnish in at this stage so I can pour my gin over and get lots of those lovely flavours. Now, with this Cambridge, it's recommended to use some dried pear. I didn't have time to dry any pear, but I did have time to get a pear. So I'm going to go ahead. And do you want some more science? Pears, actually, you might like to know, grow on trees, which I found quite interesting when I first learned that a couple of days ago. Now we're going to go for a big old slice of pear. I don't want the bottom, so I'm going to take a nice big slice of pear, and I'm going to do some real science for you now. We need to dry this pear out, and the way to dry a wet pear is to dehydrate it, and to dehydrate we need lots and lots of real nice heat. Oh yes, we have some heat. Let's do some science and dry this pear. And there we have it, our dried pear. Step number 5 in making the perfect gin and tonic is now, of course, our gin. Let's go ahead and get this opened. Christ. You see that? Happy with that? I like to always go for a good healthy double. You may ask yourself why. Well, because in a good healthy double, there's lots of vitamins and minerals in the...
You can't say that, that's not true.
Yeah.
No, it's not true.
So I like to always go for a good healthy double because I'm a greedy guts and I like big things. Ooh. That brings us on to our final step. Step number 6, the tonic. Now here in the Craft Gin Club, we were given a Cambridge tonic. This is a lemon verbena edition. When it comes to tonic, it's always worth getting a premium tonic. Now when it comes to pouring your tonic, if like me you have this scientific instrument called the long swirly spoony spinny thing, then you can use this to maintain the fizz, and you do that like this. You sit this in the bottom, you hold it at the top, and you simply pour your tonic against the spoon and it spins down and it maintains the fizz. Real nice. I always think it's worth trying it with about half the tonic, get the flavour of the gin first, and then if it's a bit strong, pour a little bit more in. But if you put too much in to start with, you just can't go back. We're going to give it a little stir and mix everything up. And now it is time to try this Cambridge Rosemary and Verbena dry gin. Core. That is delicious. Sweetness from the pear, and you get this juniper-y hit, and it's all sort of finished off with quite a nice little, ever so slightly lemony aftertaste. It's very, very, very delicate. I didn't know if it was going to be like packing this massive rosemary punch, but honestly, that is a really, really nicely balanced, flavoursome gin. Oh, just delicious. And no messing around. This is going on the gin shelf. I absolutely love that. We will see you tomorrow for day number 12.